Hey there, treasure hunter. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 signs almost nobody knows, but they can reveal if that ordinary looking rock is actually a raw diamond. And guess what? You don't need a fancy machine or a degree. All you need is to pay attention, because after today, the way you look at the ground and at life might never be the same. Would you believe I almost threw away a diamond? No joke. It was right there in my hand, and I treated it like some dirty little rock I picked up off the ground. Dull, weird looking, kind of like a chunk of construction rubble. And honestly, if I had done what most people would do, or better, yet what I almost did, this story would have ended very differently. And maybe you've let one slip by too. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Because the problem isn't the stone looking worthless. The real problem is not knowing what we're looking at in a world that moves so fast, where everything has to shout to be noticed. The quiet things, the hidden gems, they get overlooked. But hey, let me show you what I learned. It might just change how you see everything from now on. Have you ever had that feeling you lost something important and didn't realize it until later? Like when you leave your phone on the roof of the car and only notice 2 blocks down the road. That's kind of what happened to me. I was out hiking, enjoying the day, when I spotted this odd little rock. I picked it up out of curiosity, turned it over in my hand, shrugged, and thought, hey, trash. But something told me to hold on to it. Later that day, I showed it to my buddy. He's a geologist, and his eyes went wide. Dude, this might be a raw diamond. I froze. I almost tossed it into the bushes, and that moment stuck with me ever since. You know why? Because value isn't about what others see. It's about what you can recognize, and maybe that's the biggest issue today. We've been trained to only recognize value when it's shiny, polished, approved, and gift-wrapped. But real life doesn't come with a label. The things that change your world, amazing opportunities, brilliant ideas, unforgettable people, they usually show up messy, quiet, easy to miss. That's why I say, the difference between finding a diamond and walking right past one is in how you look. And that's exactly what I want to help you learn today. But before we dive into how to spot these hidden treasures, I need to tell you about the mistake I made. Because it might be the exact same one you're about to make too. So hey, if you're ready to see what most people miss, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel right now. That scene is still burned into my memory. I was walking alone, just wandering along a trail near a wooded area here in my region. No rush, no destination, just trying to unwind. That's when my eyes caught this odd little rock, kind of crooked, half buried in the damp soil. I picked it up, turned it over a few times, and thought, just gravel. But something nudged me inside. I slipped it into my pocket, not even sure why. When I got home, I tossed it onto the kitchen table and forgot about it. The next day, a buddy of mine, who knows a ton about geology, saw the rock and his eyes went wide. Dude, this might be a raw diamond. I laughed. Thought he was messing with me. But he wasn't. Right there in my hand, I'd been holding something incredibly valuable, and I nearly dismissed it. Just think about that for a second. One of the most precious materials on Earth, going unnoticed because it doesn't shine. You know what my biggest mistake was? I judged it based on what I expected to see. I was looking for sparkle, something that looked like jewelry. But raw diamonds? They're dull, rough. They don't look like they're worth thousands. They look like nothing. And that really got me thinking, how many things in life do we overlook for that same reason? That idea you had but didn't write down, that conversation you ignored, that course that seemed too basic. Sometimes the difference between missing a life-changing opportunity and actually catching it comes down to the tiniest thing, like taking 2 extra seconds to notice. That mistake taught me something huge. Before you learn how to spot a diamond, you need to learn to question your urge to judge too quickly. And look, if there's one lesson I took from this whole story, it's this. Real value, whether it's in a thing or in a person, isn't always obvious. Sometimes you only realize it when it's already too late. How many friendships have you lost because you didn't realize who was right there beside you? How many talents have you ignored in yourself just because no one validated them yet? Almost tossing that diamond became a symbol for me. Now, every time I see something that looks meh, I pause. I examine it. I ask myself, is there more here than meets the eye? Because that tiny moment of tossing the rock in my pocket, for no real reason, was the one thing that saved me from missing something big. And that is the key to not making the same mistake again. Staying open. And to do that, you've got to understand why most people just don't see. Tell me in the comments, have you ever had a moment like this? The truth may sting, but it needs to be said. If you don't know what you're looking for, you'll walk right past it. It's like walking into an antique shop full of rare treasures and thinking it's all just junk. Most people have never actually seen a raw diamond in their lives, and what little they do know, it usually comes from movies, those sparkling, perfectly cut gems shining under bright lights. But real life? A raw diamond can look like anything. A chunk of sidewalk rock, a piece of cement, even a broken tile. That's exactly why so many people miss it, because they're still looking through the lens of what it should look like. We were taught wrong. We grew up believing that value always comes dressed in luxury. But the most valuable things, they don't shout, they whisper. And only people who've trained their eyes and their ears can truly see and hear them. That's why I keep saying it. Learning to recognize is the first step to actually finding not just diamonds, but opportunities, talents, possibilities. Think about it. How many times have you stumbled across a brilliant idea only to brush it off because it felt too simple? Or skipped over a place thinking nothing good could ever come from there? It happens all the time. What we don't understand, we dismiss. And here's the kicker. Life doesn't come with warning labels when it hands you a disguised gift. It's quiet, subtle. That's why learning to see beyond the surface has become one of the most valuable skills I've developed in the past few years. And the best part? Anyone can learn it. It just takes one thing. Real attention. The kind of attention that searches for what no one else notices. Now imagine what your life could look like if you trained your eyes that way. If you could start seeing value where others only see chaos. Start spotting details, patterns, signals. It's like walking into a pitch-black room and slowly, your eyes begin to adjust. Things start to take shape. That's the power of learning to spot raw diamonds, whether they're hidden in stones, ideas, or people. And here's the coolest part. You don't need an expensive course. You don't need years of geology school. You only need one thing. To know what to look for. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you. Because once you learn how to see with clarity, even the ground beneath your feet might be hiding a treasure. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. The right knowledge changes everything. And today you're going to walk away from this video knowing exactly how to identify a raw diamond. No lab needed, no fancy equipment, no waiting around for someone else to tell you what it's worth. You only need one thing: a trained eye. And to help you build that, I'm going to give you 3 simple, straight-to-the-point tests that anyone can do. This is the kind of thing you learn once and never forget. You can use it on a hike, by a river, walking down the street, or even in your own backyard. I've seen people find gold nuggets in construction dirt. Sounds like an urban legend, but it's real. And if you follow the steps I'm about to show you, you'll start to notice a whole new world around you. No exaggeration. Most tutorials out there make things way too complicated. They start throwing around words like density, refractive index, light dispersion, absorption spectrum. But if you're just starting out, you don't need confusion. You need clarity. That's why I built this method around what actually works. 3 pillars, 3 tests, 3 chances to find something valuable. And the best part? You already have everything you need at home. No machines, no ridiculous spending. This is the kind of knowledge that, when it lands in the right hands, becomes skill. And once it's a skill, it becomes power. The power to decide, to recognize, to act. Because someone who can spot a raw diamond in the mud can also spot hidden value in the small things in life. And that, my friend, is priceless. Let me ask you something. How many times have you felt like you had something valuable in your hands, but weren't sure? That moment of, is this worth it? Or, am I really seeing this right? Yeah, we've all been there. But after what I'm about to teach you, those doubts, they'll shrink, maybe even disappear, because you'll have a framework, a filter, a compass. You'll be able to analyze with confidence. And that's something most people don't have right now. Autonomy. You won't need anyone to tell you what has value. You'll know it yourself. And more than that, you'll know it with certainty. But to get there, we've got to take one step back. We need to understand how diamonds are formed, because once you know where they come from, you'll know exactly where to look. So before we move forward, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and leave a like if this content has been helpful to you so far. Let's take a trip through time. But not just a quick hop back. I'm talking millions of years ago, deep down in the Earth's burning core. Way beneath the surface, where the pressure is insane and the heat can melt metal, one of the rarest and most sought-after materials on the planet is born: the diamond. It all starts with carbon, squeezed and cooked under such extreme conditions that it eventually arranges itself into a perfect crystalline structure. A slow, silent, deep transformation. And here's the wild part. That perfection begins in total chaos. So next time you're holding a strange-looking rock in your hand, remember, it might have gone through more heat and pressure than most people could handle in a lifetime. But then comes the big question. If diamonds are formed so deep, how do they end up on the surface? The answer is simple and explosive. Ancient volcanoes. Massive eruptions millions of years ago acted like fiery elevators, pushing diamonds up from the Earth's core. They came up hidden inside a special kind of rock called kimberlite, nature's capsule for delivering diamonds to the surface. That's why regions with ancient volcanic soil are pure gold mines, or should I say, crystallized carbon mines. Take the US, for example. Arkansas is a diamond hunter's dream. The crater of Diamond State Park is the only place in the world where you can dig for diamonds and keep what you find. And get this, tourists have found stones there over 9 carats. No joke. But Arkansas isn't the only place hiding treasure. States like Colorado, Montana, and even parts of California have recorded diamond finds too. And in old riverbeds, especially where the water curved or slowed down, it's common for heavy stones like diamonds to settle and collect. Back in the day, a lot of these areas were poorly explored, but they still hold secrets. Here's a tip. Anywhere with intense geological activity could be hiding clues, and the presence of certain companion minerals, like garnet or olivine, can be a big sign that you're on the right track. But don't worry. I'll explain more about that in a bit, because now that you understand where diamonds come from, it's time to learn how to recognize one when it's right in front of you, disguised as nothing special. Alright, now let's get to the good stuff. How do you know if that little rock you found is actually a raw diamond? There are 3 key pillars to help you figure it out: shape, shine, and hardness. And no, you don't need to be some kind of gem expert with a magnifying glass strapped to your forehead. These are tests anyone can do. Let's start with shape. Raw diamonds usually appear in a few specific forms. The most common? An octahedron. Imagine 2 pyramids glued together at the base. Sometimes they also show up as cubes, or even more rounded, shapes caused by natural erosion. And there's a rare type called macle, a thin, flat, triangle-like shape that looks almost like a tiny flake. So if you see a stone with clearly defined geometric shapes, that's a very good sign. Next up, shine. But this is where it gets interesting, because unlike what most people think, a raw diamond doesn't sparkle like a jewelry store gem. No over-the-top glamour. Instead, it has a subtle, internal glow, and it really shows up under direct light, like a pocket LED flashlight. Here's why that matters. Under LED light or a phone flashlight, diamonds react very differently than regular rocks. Quartz or fluorite, for example, tend to give off a milky or scattered glow. But a diamond? It reflects light in a way that feels deeper, like there's a tiny light inside it. It's subtle, but once you see it, you'll never forget it. Pro tip: always carry a small LED flashlight in your pocket. It's basically a portable treasure detector. Now for the third, and maybe most decisive pillar, hardness. Diamonds are the hardest natural material on Earth. So what does that mean in practice? It means they can scratch glass, metal, and ceramic without getting damaged. Here's a simple at-home test. Grab an old tile or even a glass bottle. Try scratching it with your mystery stone. If it leaves a clear mark and the stone stays intact, boom, you might be onto something, but careful. This test alone isn't foolproof. Some other minerals can scratch glass too. That's why these 3 pillars combined are your best bet. Shape plus shine, plus hardness, high probability. And once you start using this method consistently, your vision starts to shift. You begin to see things differently. But hold up. Before you go testing everything in sight, there are a few common mistakes you need to avoid. So tell me, how are you liking the content so far? Stick with me, because I'm about to share even more game-changing insights with you. Now that your eye's getting sharper, let me tell you something. There are some mistakes so common, they feel like traps. One of the classic ones? Mistaking quartz for diamond. You know that pretty little stone, shiny, a bit milky, nice geometric shape? Yeah, 90% of the time, it's quartz. It's super misleading, especially if your eye isn't fully trained yet. The key difference is in the texture. Quartz, When you run your finger over it, feels like it has tiny grooves, almost like faint ridges. Raw diamonds, on the other hand, feel smoother and more solid. They're denser, tighter, more compact. Also, the shine from quartz is surface level, like that soapy glow when you hold wet glass under a light. But a diamond? It holds its light from the inside. It's a subtle difference. But once you notice it, it changes everything. Another common trap? Broken glass. Sometimes you find a thicker shard, with a sharp point or jagged edge. Maybe it even scratches a surface. And you think, boom, I found it. But don't fall for it. Glass can scratch softer materials too. And lots of glass types have that fake sparkle that fools people. Once again, the secret is in the combo. Shape plus internal shine, plus real hardness. Some folks collect a whole jar of glass shards thinking they struck gold, only to get the harsh truth when they try to sell them. And hey, there's no shame in being wrong at first. It's part of the journey. Just don't keep making the same mistakes with the confidence of someone who's right. That's why the more informed you are, the faster you start filtering out what doesn't matter. One last mistake, one that's worth its weight in gold to avoid, is getting too confident based on just one characteristic. Some people see a rock scratch glass and immediately call a jeweler. But what about the shape, the glow, the source? Every detail matters. It's the combination of clues that brings you to the truth. It's like trying to recognize a celebrity just from the back. Maybe it looks familiar, but you only know for sure when you see the full face. Same thing with raw diamonds. The more carefully you observe, the less time you waste chasing the fakes. And speaking of keeping things practical, let me show you a simple trick that can make your journey a lot easier. A compact portable kit that helps you test and identify possible finds on the go. But before we get into that, let me introduce you to something special. To give you even deeper, exclusive content, I've put together an ebook that teaches you everything you need to know about the world of precious stones. You'll find the link in the description below. If you're taking this mission seriously, and from the looks of it you are, then it's time to build your very own Diamond Hunter's kit. No need to overcomplicate things. This is all simple, affordable gear that can make a huge difference when you're out in the field. Whether you're hiking, exploring a trail, or just checking out an interesting patch of land. First essential item, a LED flashlight. The kind you can easily find at a hardware store or online. Why? Because bright white light reveals a lot about a stone's internal shine. And by now, you already know how to run that test. Second item, a pocket magnifying glass with at least 10x magnification. With it, you'll catch the kind of details your naked eye would miss, like structure, tiny fractures, and even small inclusions inside the stone. Third item, a ceramic tile, or even a piece of old bathroom tile. This one's for the hardness test. If your mystery stone scratches the tile easily and doesn't chip, boom, that's a good sign. A lot of people use knives, glass, even coins. But those materials vary too much in hardness. Ceramic is one of the fairest tests for beginners. And last but definitely not least, a sturdy container with a lid to store your suspicious finds. You don't want that potential jackpot bouncing around at the bottom of your backpack, right? Plus, having a secure spot to keep your samples helps you stay organized. You'll know what's already been tested and what still needs a deeper look at home. Organization is half the battle. Now, if you're feeling ambitious, you can level up your kit with a few extras. A precision scale, like the ones jewelers use. a small magnet to weed out magnetic minerals, and even a UV pen light, some diamonds, react to ultraviolet light depending on their composition. But hey, no pressure to buy it all at once. Start small. Build your toolkit piece by piece as you fall deeper into this hobby. And yes, it becomes a good kind of addiction. You start out curious, and next thing you know, you're analyzing geological formations on Google Earth. Here's the wild part. With just this little kit in your pocket and the knowledge you're picking up here, you're already more prepared than most people out there. And over time, that preparation becomes instinct. Your vision shifts, your world changes. But before I show you how that happens, let me walk you through what comes next. At first, it all feels a bit overwhelming, right? All the details, the tests, the weird names for rocks. But trust me, that's just the beginning. Because over time, your vision will change. For real. What once looked like just a plain old rock on the ground will start catching your eye in a completely different way. It's like the world begins whispering secrets, and you're the only one who can hear them. You walk across the same patch of land you've passed 100 times, and suddenly think, how did I never notice this before? It's not magic. It's training. It's your brain connecting the dots. That's called refined perception, and it happens to anyone who commits to something, whether it's hunting diamonds, identifying healing plants, or even reading human behavior. Skill comes from intentional repetition, and with it, you'll begin to see what others miss. You know when you start listening to a new song and at first, it's just noise, but after a few plays you start noticing the layers, the background instruments, the rhythm you didn't catch before, even the emotion in the singer's voice. That's exactly how it is with raw diamonds. The only difference is, this hidden chorus could be worth a fortune. Even more powerful, the feeling of spotting something everyone else ignores. It's indescribable. It's like you've gained a superpower. And in a way you have. Because now, you're not just another person walking a trail or staring at the ground. You're reading signs, interpreting clues nature left behind. And once you've learned that, it stays with you. It becomes part of your inner toolkit. It changes the way you see life itself. Over time, you become that friend, the one people call when they find a weird rock, the one who doesn't rely on luck but on skill. The walk becomes a mission, the landscape becomes a map, and every suspicious stone becomes a possibility. And here's the most beautiful part. This journey isn't just about finding diamonds. It shapes your mindset. It teaches you to question what's been tossed aside, to not judge by appearance, to listen more before assuming. At the core, what you're developing is a new lens for the world. But before we close this journey, there's still one more important step: sharing this knowledge with others. Because the kind of knowledge that truly transformed is the kind we pass on. Now that you have this knowledge in your hands, listen closely. Don't let it die inside you. You just learned something that most people don't even know exists. Something that can completely change how you see the world, and even shift what you choose to value in life. So here's what I want you to do. If this video helped you, hit that like button right now. It's more than just a click. It's a sign that you understand the value of what you've just received. And make sure to subscribe to the channel, because this journey is just getting started. Here, we're not just serving up random facts. We're delivering autonomy, vision, and practical wisdom. And hey, if you've ever come across a strange-looking stone and weren't sure what to make of it? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your story, and maybe even take a closer look together. And if you're still here with me now, it means something inside you has been awakened. A rare kind of curiosity. The kind most people lose along the way. Don't let it go. Fuel that fire. Because from this point forward, everything changes. You won't walk around distracted anymore. You'll notice things. Your eyes will be different. And when you spot that subtle shimmer in the mud, you'll remember this moment. You'll remember this message. You'll know it's not luck, it's preparation. And believe me, this is only the beginning. So hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and get ready. Because in the next video that's showing up on your screen, right now I'm going to reveal even more secrets about the amazing world of precious stones. See you there.